Frank Herbert's Dune, published way back in 1965, is a giant in science fiction. But its influence reaches far beyond that genre. It's a complex story set on a desert planet called Arrakis. This isn't just a tale of spaceships and aliens, it's a deep look at politics, religion, and human nature. Herbert created a universe with feuding noble houses, a powerful galactic emperor, and shadowy organizations pulling strings from behind the scenes. This intricate web of power struggles set a new standard for storytelling. It showed us that a story set in the distant future could say a lot about our own world, right here and now. The book's depth made it more than just an adventure. It was a political simulation. The world of Dune is built on a foundation of political intrigue. Think of it like a grand chess game played across star systems. You have the noble House Atreides, the ruthless House Harkonnen, and the Emperor Shaddam IV, all vying for control. Each group has its own spies, its own secret plans, and its own definition of victory. This level of detail in world-building was groundbreaking. Herbert didn't just tell a story, he crafted an entire political ecosystem. He explored how power is gained, how it is kept, and how it corrupts. This focus on the mechanics of power is a key ingredient that would later define the modern political thriller. Before Dune, science fiction often dealt with simpler good versus evil conflicts. Herbert changed the game. He introduced moral ambiguity. The heroes in Dune are flawed. The villains have understandable, if terrifying, motivations. This complexity makes the story feel real, even with its fantastical setting. Herbert was interested in the systems that govern us. He looked at how religion could be used as a political tool, and how entire societies could be manipulated. These are not just sci-fi ideas. They are core questions about human civilization, which is why the book's themes have such staying power and have bled into other genres. So, when we talk about Dune, we're not just talking about giant sandworms and a boy with special powers. We are talking about a foundational text. It laid the groundwork for complex narratives about power, control, and survival. It showed future writers that you could tackle big, complicated political ideas within a compelling story. Its influence is like gravity, an invisible force that has shaped the landscape of modern storytelling, especially in the world of political thrillers. The seeds planted on the sands of Arrakis have grown into a forest of stories that we see on our screens and read in our books today. One of the most powerful ideas in Dune is the concept of the messianic leader. The central character, Paul Atreides, is seen by the native Fremen people as a prophesied savior, the Mahdi. Herbert explores how this belief is not just a simple matter of faith. It's a political weapon, carefully cultivated over generations by the Bene Gesserit sisterhood. Paul himself struggles with this role. He sees the future, a terrible holy war fought in his name, and he is powerless to stop it. This idea, that a charismatic leader can inspire both hope and destruction, is a theme we see over and over again in modern political thrillers. Think about the stories we see today. Many political dramas, whether in books or on film, feature a central figure who is elevated to an almost mythical status. This leader promises to fix a broken system, to lead the people to a better future. But this promise often comes with a dark side. In shows like Homeland or House of Cards, we see characters who manipulate public perception to gain power. They present themselves as the only answer to the people's problems, just as Paul was presented to the Fremen. Herbert showed us how the legend of a leader can become more powerful than the leader themselves, a force that takes on a life of its own. The archetype of the reluctant messiah is also a direct echo of Paul Atreides. Paul didn't want to be a religious icon. He was a young duke's son thrust into a destiny he feared. We see this character type in many modern thrillers. Consider Katniss Everdeen in The Hunger Games. She becomes the Mockingjay, a symbol of rebellion, not because she wants to, but because she is forced into that role by circumstances. She, like Paul, carries the heavy weight of a movement on her shoulders. This internal conflict makes the character more human, and the story more compelling. It examines the personal cost of becoming a symbol for millions. Herbert's exploration was a warning. He showed how easily people can surrender their own judgment to a charismatic figure, especially in times of desperation. This theme is incredibly relevant today. Modern political thrillers often serve as cautionary tales about the dangers of blind faith in any single leader. They ask us to question the narratives we are fed and to look closely at the motivations of those who claim to have all the answers. The shadow of Paul Atreides, the Messiah who feared his own success, looms large over these stories, reminding us that power, especially the power of belief, is a force that must be handled with great care. He who controls the spice controls the universe. This famous line from Dune gets to the heart of another major theme, the fight for resources. On the planet Arrakis, the only valuable commodity is the spice melange. It's a drug that extends life, expands consciousness, and makes interstellar travel possible. Every major power in the galaxy wants to control it. This struggle over a single essential resource is the engine that drives the entire plot. Herbert brilliantly used the spice to represent any finite resource that nations on Earth have fought over for centuries: oil, water, land, or rare minerals. This idea is now a cornerstone of the modern political thriller. Many of today's best thrillers are not about abstract ideologies. They are about the cold, hard reality of resource scarcity. Think of movies like Syriana or Blood Diamond. These films explore how conflicts are fueled by the global demand for oil or precious gems. They show how corporations and governments will lie, cheat, and kill to secure their supply chains. This is the exact same dynamic that plays out between the great houses and the emperor for control of Arrakis. Herbert essentially wrote the blueprint for the resource war thriller decades before it became a popular subgenre. The spice is more than just a resource, it's a tool of control. The Spacing Guild needs it to navigate space. The Bene Gesserit need it for their abilities, and the wealthy need it to prolong their lives. By controlling the spice, you control every powerful faction in the universe. This concept, that control over a key resource equals political dominance, is a fundamental truth in our own world. Modern thrillers like the James Bond film Quantum of Solace focus on a villain's attempt to monopolize something as basic as the water supply in a South American country. The plot is pure Dune, just with water instead of spice. Herbert's genius was in showing how this single point of contention could create such a complex web of alliances, betrayals, and espionage. The fight for the spice leads to economic warfare, political assassinations, and ultimately, open rebellion. It demonstrates that the grandest political conflicts can often be traced back to a simple, material need. When we watch a modern thriller about a scramble for lithium in the Congo or natural gas reserves in the Arctic, we are watching the legacy of Dune play out. The names and the resources may change, but the core lesson remains the same. The spice must flow. The influence of Dune extends beyond its big themes to the very structure of its characters and plots. The story is filled with archetypes that have become staples of the political thriller genre. You have the wise and noble leader, Duke Leto Atreides, who is betrayed by a trusted associate. You have the cunning spy master, Thufir Hawat, and the loyal warrior, Duncan Idaho. Most importantly, you have the shadowy conspirators, like the Bene Gesserit, an ancient order of women who manipulate politics from behind the curtain for their own long-term goals. This idea of a hidden deep state or a secret society pulling the strings is now a classic trope in espionage fiction. Compare this to a series like George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, which became the show Game of Thrones. The parallels are impossible to ignore. You have noble houses vying for a throne, each with its own sigil and traditions, just like the houses in Dune. You have characters like Lord Varys, the spy master who serves the realm through whispers and secrets, a clear descendant of characters like Thufir Hawat. The intricate plots, the sudden betrayals, and the sense that no character is ever truly safe are all hallmarks that Herbert perfected. Martin himself has cited Dune as a major influence on his work. Even stories that seem very different on the surface carry echoes of Dune. Look at the Star Wars saga. A desert planet that is crucial to the story? Check. A young boy with a mysterious destiny who rises to challenge a galactic empire? Check. An evil emperor who rules through fear? Check. While Star Wars is more of a space opera, its political underpinnings, the fall of the Republic, the rise of the Empire, the seeds of rebellion, owe a significant debt to the political landscape Herbert created. The intricate world-building of Dune gave other creators permission to think on a grander, more complex political scale. In the end, Frank Herbert's masterpiece did more than just tell a great story. It provided a new language for talking about power. It showed that a story could be both a thrilling adventure and a sophisticated political commentary. Its focus on messianic figures, resource wars, and deep state conspiracies created a template that has been used, adapted, and remixed for decades. Understanding the influence of Dune is like having a key that unlocks the secrets of so many modern stories. It helps us see the invisible threads connecting a desert planet from 1965 to the political thrillers that captivate us today. Its legacy is not just in science fiction, it is carved into the very DNA of modern political storytelling.